Good day, all matriculants. Welcome to this final last lesson in English of your lives. I'm actually at the moment sitting in my classroom, which is eerily empty and void of any other human being, and it's quite ominous, I must say. Right, so now we have to prepare for paper 3. So you are now entering the straits of this exam marathon. The finishing line is in your sights. You can see it, you can taste it. All you need to do is persevere and execute the last few steps, and you will stand victoriously on the podium of success. So don't stop studying now. You actually need to study for paper 3. It counts 100 marks. So I'm first going to quickly browse through the reply by last year's English powers that be, the report they wrote after a paper that the learners have written, because you need to analyze your questions. So last year they asked these topics. Firstly, as I reached home, right? The first important thing is you must notice that that story must be in the past tense. So you must first go and check the verb, because if you now change it to the present, it's all wrong. So number 2, we lifted the trophy with pride. Once again, lifted, it's in the past tense. So that experience or game or match or whatever it was occurred in the past. Then the topic rainy days, obviously, there you could have interpreted it as literal or figurative or both. So they like it when you go a bit deeper into emotional situations. Right, number 4, you are never too old to dream. Remember, it must have been a or one dream that they wanted. You're never too old to dream a new dream. So you must always read and analyze, okay, what exactly do they want from me in this essay? Right, then number 5, learners responded quite well. It's the responsibility of every individual to save the environment. Number 6, My Best Friend is One Who Brings Out the Best in Me by Henry Ford. They will always give you a quote, but like they say from experience, candidates do not do well with quotations. So if you can, avoid the quotation. Number 7, choose one of the following pictures and write an essay on the topic that comes to mind. Write the question number. You must always do that exactly as they want it, and then give your essay a suitable title. Well, all essays must have a suitable title. Right? Like they say, they encourage candidates to choose the picture as long as they link it somewhere in the essay to this picture or topic. They can write about anything they see. So you must try to incorporate your planned essay or whatever you've thought you are going to write or envisioned yourself writing, try to link it to that picture. Right? Very important, there should be no contractions in section A. Like isn't is always an error. You must say is not, do not, did not. But remember, cannot is the only case where we have one word. Right, if your essay is too short, the content is compromised. If too long, planning and conclusion are compromised. So try to adhere to the amount of words that they prescribe, because then you will have your ending and your essay will be a tight little unit. Right, moving on, they had the picture was another option. Right, then at the longer transactional test, right, they give you all the details. Here was the option of a friendly letter, the covering letter, and which comes with this curriculum vitae. So in the friendly letter, they say the format needs to be taught. We did that for many, many years. You should have an introduction, a body and a conclusion. Tone and register should be friendly and informal, but not slang. The address of the sender, the date, the greeting, the salutation is Dear John, and a suitable ending must be included. Candidate left out details such as who the local musician is and what lessons are offered. So you must go analyze exactly what they expect of you and do all aspects. You can literally scratch it out that you've done this instruction and so on. Right, the formal letter should have an introduction, a body and a conclusion. The tone and register must be formal. So you actually try to avoid to write this one. The following must be included: the address of the sender, the date of the recipient, who can be a manager, an editor in some cases, the chief executive officer, not a CEO, the editor of a magazine, the name of the clothing store, in this case, Fashion for You, the address of the recipient, the greeting, the salutation, the subject line in a formal letter, a suitable ending. Your signature, obviously, at a formal letter, and the name of the sender, because they cannot analyze your signature. The contents of the letter must match your CV. Candidates did well if they included the relevant personal qualities and indication that the CV is attached, the date when the applicant will be available, the position applying for. This is very important for your adult life, to know how to do your curriculum vitae and the accompanying letter. So you must practice this. I don't know if they're going to ask it, but you need this for your future. Right, then they also asked a review and a speech. So the review was not a popular choice. The tone and register must always be appropriate and the content suitable for the target audience. Candidates should include the title of the film, could be a book that they ask you, a book review, a description of the plot, the main characters and key incidents, a judgment or an evaluation of the film. It may include the genre, the setting, the style, the lighting, the camera angles, the director, the producer. This is quite an intricate thing to write, so you try not to choose it. But if you choose it, you must give details of cinematography and costuming and all the technical aspects. So you must really sit and think about a film that you've seen, and you must always eventually evaluate it. And you must say, I recommend this film or this book or not, or this television program. So you must go and study this, please, in your Pinkus guide. Right, 2.4 at the speech. Like the topic clearly indicated, it has to inspire grade 12 learners. There must be a suitable greeting. You can't just start with a speech. You greet your audience. Salutation, where you address the people. An introduction that captures the audience's attention. Well-developed points. A suitable conclusion. Hardly any candidates refer to what makes or has made the person successful, like it was instructed here. So people just follow the brief. That is what we call following the brief. They actually tell you exactly what you must say, and you just say it in a sentence. Right, at the shorter transactional, they asked an invitation card, a diary, and instructions. Right, at an invitation card, the date, the venue, the detail of it, and the time must be included. So those three things are extremely important. The type of function should be clear. The language may be formal or informal. Full sentences are not really necessary, but you need to get all those words made up, so you might as well use full sentences. The name of the invitee, the dress code, RSVP, the répondez s'il vous plaît French, must be on any invitation. Cost involved may be included if it's applicable. Right, at a diary, feelings or emotions are important. You must have at least 4 per entry. And remember, sometimes they ask 1 entry, sometimes they ask 2 entries. You must encourage candidates, you guys, not to use happy, glad, sad, and angry. Not those words. You must have words that pinpoint your emotions, which you must study in your Pinkus guide. You must use words like exuberant when you're happy. When you're sad, you can be despondent. and so on. So there are specific pages in the Pinkers Guide where you can get lovely words. So pick 5 before you come and write. There must be only one diary entry in this case, but it must be written in the first person always. Language must be simple and informal, because remember, the diary is for your eyes only. So you must always say, dear diary, not a dairy. It's not cow or something. D-I-A, and it must be capitalized. And then there must always be a date at every single entry. You do not end it like a friendly letter. You don't say yours sincerely, because you know it's your diary. You're not going to write your name at the bottom. And you must really, if you can choose a diary, you do this, because you can really play with the emotions of the marker. You go to extreme roller coaster rides of emotion. It's okay, because it's your diary for your eyes only. So please use that. Then instructions, it's the most boring thing ever. You're not going to get a 90%, but you won't fail. So you can decide, right, it may be in points form, but they say it's better than a paragraph. And I know as a marker, we like the point form hyphenated, but it must still be a logical sequence. And in the imperative, candidates must focus on instructions caring for an ill grandparent. So some learners obviously didn't say it's someone who's sick. So you must really analyze what they want when they ask you to write instructions. Don't number the instructions. If they ask you to bake a cake or something weird like that, you write your hyphens, no bullets. Bullets are never used in English, only when we do your PowerPoint presentations. Okay, so very important, you must discuss or study in section B and C. You must be able, there are different categories. You must do the formal and informal letter, and you go and study it in your Pinkers Guide, page 48 to 51, and you study your CV. Then they have the option in category B to ask you reviews, like of book or films, articles. Remember, we gave you wonderful notes on how to use the inverted pyramid to write a newspaper article, or for a magazine or the school paper. Must be in column form. You must have a byline. You must have your name there. So go check that out. The agenda and minutes of the meeting, you also received notes. If you can study this off by heart, but you can't be really creative here. Then reports of, say, an accident and obituary. You've got your notes. You study it off by heart, and you just fill in a few other details. It's like a template that we gave you, and you can go Google it as well. So an obituary, when someone has died, okay, is what is published in the magazines or newspapers. A eulogy is the speech that when you stand up and speak about someone close to you who has passed away, like in The Fault in Our Stars. Okay, that's where you do the speech. So you must get those two words sorted out. Then also a dialogue. It's nice to choose a dialogue. You must just remember, no quotation marks or inverted commas. Do it in a lovely column form, and don't say me and you. Just give the people names who are having a conversation, and then also do your subtext, which must be in present tense, like smiles, not is smiling, or slaps him. You can write that on the right-hand side. Right, and then we also get a written, formal or informal speech. They love asking speeches, so you must be very creative when delivering a speech, because you need to captivate the audience. Imagine the head boy or head girl doing a speech at school. What do you want? A good introduction. They must captivate you with humor and wordplay and funny quotes and things like that. So you must go and find yourself wonderful, say, 2 quotes that you are going to implement somewhere here in your transactional pieces. And you use it wherever. Whatever you write, you use that quote. Doesn't matter what you write, you use the quote. Right, then section C, the shorter piece, they can ask you to do an advertisement, right? Remember, no color, because then they say it's irregular. You knew you're getting this, so it's all about the words and the slogan and the catchphrase and punning and alliteration and assonance. There are no pictures. Use font. Then an invitation card, same thing. You must entice the people to want to come to this party or this function. It's all about the words and the alliteration and the wordplay and the evoking the desire within the people to want to attend this party or this matric farewell or whatever the case may be. And then obviously a flyer and a poster must stand out. It must be interesting, and you do it with the words. Right, then category B will be the diary entry or entries. They can ask you to actually write the short message system, the SMS, but I haven't seen it in a final paper. But they can ask you, namely or like on WhatsApp or Facebook or Messenger. But I say avoid this one. Write a diary where you can be creative and evoke emotional reactions within the marker. Be very sad, very happy, very funny. Right, and then another possible option, they could ask you instructions or directions to a place, which is extremely boring, but easy. Right, so people, my personal advice to you, you must study your Pinkers Guide. You must study the format of longer and shorter transactional pieces. You must go and study frequently misspelled words. It's right at the back of your Pinkers Guide. Like committee, an accommodation. It's a wonderful list of words. You just read through it once. You use, there's a lovely page on idioms where you just pick one or two and you must use them. Synonyms for basic or cliche words. You're not going to say big or small. You're going to use interesting words, and there is a lovely list in your Pinkers Guide. It stretches from page 48 to 51, and then from page 75 onwards you have the format of everything and tips on writing. Right, that list of verbs is wonderful. Instead of saying walking, you say ambling or strutting. So to go, just pick a few there, and there's a wonderful list of words that replace very. Like very tired. A grade 12 does not say I was very tired. A grade 12 says I was exhausted. So they provide you with the better word. Instead of saying very this, very that, very big, you say enormous. So just go read through it. And yeah, I've got a few nice little words for you because I cannot resist lovely words like these in this little, like vast is like very big, like the desert. Stagnant is when there's no growth. Pick a word from my little PowerPoint here and use it. Anyone. And the spelling of beautiful, please take notice of that. It has one L at the end. Right, then a few more words to implement. The word like sensuous has to do with the senses, what you see, what you taste, what you feel. Waxen, sluggish for people who are lazy and slow. Morose, if something is very depressing and deep, like you're standing there next to someone's grave. Just pick a word. Right, then extraordinary, check out that spelling, and so on. And there's like dictionaries full of words you can pick from. I really love the little word on that right-hand slide, picturesque. It's like a picture. Use my word, I don't mind. Marvelous has two L's, like you can see there. Right then, I love the 7 deadly sins. If you have to write a story, start with one of these, because you also need, like our short story writers and people who write films and books, you need to have a theme. So go and link a theme to one of these. Just go through it. Lust, I won't really recommend that one. Gluttony, when you eat too much or do too much of anything. Greed, like people who are power hungry and they lust after power. and money. Make that your theme. Sloth, yeah, people who are lazy and they want to move like the little animal. Wrath is anger, and from anger we get like maybe murder. Envy is jealousy, when you really want that car that your friend has. Okay, it might lead your main character to go and steal something or to learn a little lesson. And then pride, which always comes to a fall, is when you're vain, and vanity is not a good thing. So you can give your main protagonist character, if you want to write a story, go back to the 7 deadly sins and pick one. And then Bob's your uncle, then you've got your story. It's easy. Let the main character learn something or deteriorate or improve or develop, but the character must develop. So a story is difficult to write. So the question is, how will your essay stand out amongst 80,000 others? Believe me, one of those markers, it's a lot of essays. So Albert Einstein said, creativity is intelligence having fun. This is your answer. Have fun. Enjoy relating your story or points of view. Whether you're writing argumentative, just enjoy those 2 hours or 2.5 hours. And I think it's just, yeah, it's 2.5. Don't sit there and suffer. Really try to be enthusiastic about what you want to bring across and do it in a fun way by using color and all those things. Regard your answer sheet as a blank canvas and then color it in with vivid descriptions. So it's a very clear description. Think out of the box and approach the topic from a different angle. So everyone is going to pick this topic and they're going to do it like everyone does it. You must stand out. You need to be memorable to stand out amongst all the 79,999 matriculants. 79,999 matriculants. It's so many. The main aspect being tested in this paper is creativity. So they don't really mind if you make a little spelling error, but if you try to say marvelous, even though it's with 1 L, like they say it here in our little screen, and we know it's 2, they give you higher marks for creativity, right? For instance, a ranketeer is a talented storyteller. That's what you need to be. Right, how can this be attained to stand out? Firstly, I recommend that in order to stand out, you transcend into the world of your essay by luring the reader into your setting, the place where it happens. Use a captivating title or a hook which will entice the reader to want to read more. Alliteration and assonance are effective in giving a ring to your title, and people will want to read more. Transcend into the world of your essay by luring the reader into your setting. I've said that twice now. Use a captivating title or a hook which will entice the reader to want to read more. I've said that twice again. Use similes. For instance, life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That Forrest Gump said. That's an example of a simile. You use them when describing your characters or whatever you are discussing. Use a simile. Make a picture. Imagery. Metaphors are also very effective. Like, all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players is what William Shakespeare said. So he's saying the world is a stage. So you can also say something is something. Use color. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus Aurelius said that. So please, just don't say the guy has blue eyes. What color blue? We need to know. Is it turquoise? Is it azure? Is it navy blue? Is it, I don't know, translucent, crystal clear, blue eyes, whatever. Use onomatopoeia sound effects. Crash, bang, crack, etc. Sorry, it must be 2 words, etc. Create your own sound effects. You can make up the spelling of a word because you are the one hearing that sound. So they can't penalize you for spelling because you heard it like that. Right? How can you now attain this? Use all your senses to create a three-dimensional effect. Use the visual, what you see. Use auditory, in other words, what you hear when you're in this situation. Use touching, it's the texture of something. What it feels like. Taste. You can write an essay on an ice cream and the taste. When things are dancing in your taste buds and I don't know what else, or on your tongue or whatever. And the smell, a pungent smell or whatever. And then also, of course, you must apply your sixth sense, which is instinct, intuition, or the feeling in the bones when you feel someone is going to attack you, etc. Use personification. Sorry. Lightning danced across the sky. Make dead objects alive with your words. Formulate a theme. There must be a moral or lesson to the story. 7 deadly sins is a good starting point. The protagonist in your story must be in conflict with the antagonist. Excuse me, I'm not used to speaking, and I'm not going to pause. The main character must experience an epiphany, light bulb moment, or a realization. Plan your story according to the structure of our short stories, exposition or establishment of the setting and the problem, rising action. As the conflict and tension escalate, there must be a climax and denouement or ending. Sorry. Follow the examiner's brief to a T. It boils down to how well you read the instructions and execute them